Ladies and gentlemen, everyone dreams of a better life, but success doesn't come from big steps. It comes from small, consistent ones. When I was young, I didn't have money, power, or luck. What I had were small habits, repeated every single day, that slowly built my future. You don't need to change your whole life overnight. Just change your days, because your days build your destiny. So today, let's talk about 10 small daily habits that can completely change your life forever. Habit number 1. Keep promises to yourself. You know, everyone in this world makes big promises. I'll wake up early tomorrow. I'll start eating healthy next week. I'll save money next month. But the truth, tomorrow becomes next week becomes next month, and next month never comes. We're not lazy. We're just too good at lying to ourselves. I once asked a young man, "Why did you stop going to the gym?" He said, "Sir, I didn't stop. I'm just taking a long break." I asked, "How long?" He said, "Since 2019. Everyone laughed, but that's reality. We humans can forgive anyone in the world except our own reflection in the mirror. Because deep down, we remember every promise we broke to ourselves. Every time you said you'd change and didn't, a small part of you stopped believing you could. And that's dangerous because confidence doesn't come from motivation. Confidence comes from trusting yourself. Think about it. If your best friend kept lying to you every day, would you still believe them? No, you'd stop trusting them. That's what happens inside you, quietly. When you say, "I'll do it," and don't, your brain goes, "Sure, you said that last time too." And that's how self-doubt is born. Not because you're weak, but because you stopped keeping your own word. It's like that New Year gym crowd. On January 1st, the gym looks like a music concert. Everyone's taking selfies, wearing new shoes, saying, "New Year, new me." By February 1st, it's empty. Even the dumbbells are lonely. Success doesn't come from January promises. It comes from February discipline. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. If you said you'll do 20 push-ups and only manage 5, do 5. If you said you'll read 10 pages, read 2. Because the goal is not to finish. The goal is to prove you can start and stay. Imagine your phone battery at 2%. Would you still scroll Instagram? Of course not. You'd rush to charge it. But when your life battery is at 2%, when you feel tired, lost, unmotivated, most people keep scrolling through their problems instead of charging their mind. You recharge your confidence by keeping your promises. That's your charger. Every small promise you keep is like watering a seed of self-belief. At first, you don't see the growth. But one morning, you'll realize you've become the kind of person who says it and does it. And when that happens, you no longer need motivation videos. You become one. Think of anyone successful. Athletes, entrepreneurs, even great parents. What do they all share? They do what they said they'd do, long after the feeling they said it in has gone. That's it. That's the formula. So start small. Promise to wake up 10 minutes earlier and do it. Promise to save $1 a day and do it. Promise to smile once before sleep and do it. Because success doesn't begin with others believing in you. It begins with you believing you. Keep your promises to yourself, and one day, the world will believe every word you say. Now let's talk about habit number 2. Plan tomorrow before you sleep. Most people close their eyes at night with their phone in their hand, scrolling, laughing at memes, replying to messages. Then in the morning they wake up, look confused and say, "Why is my life so stressful?" My friend, it's not life, it's your lack of planning. You go to bed tired, you wake up lost. You see, the most successful people in the world don't start their day in the morning. They start it the night before. Before they sleep, they already know what they will do, what matters, and what doesn't. When you plan tomorrow tonight, your brain sleeps with direction. But when you don't, it sleeps with confusion. That's why some people wake up tired, even after 8 hours of sleep. Their brain was solving useless problems all night. Think of your phone. When you plug it in at night, it charges. When you plan your day at night, you charge. You wake up ready, not rushed. You don't have to write a business plan. Just write 3 things. What I must do. What I should do. What I can do if I have time. That's it. 3 bullets. It takes 2 minutes. But those 2 minutes can save you hours tomorrow. You ever notice how airports work? Every flight has a schedule. Imagine if pilots woke up and said, "Let's just fly somewhere." Chaos, right? That's how most people live. They wake up and fly anywhere, emotionally, financially, mentally. Then they complain they didn't reach their destination. How can you, if you never set a flight plan? And here's the funny part. The people who say, "I don't need to plan, I'll figure it out," are the same ones who panic when one small thing goes wrong. The moment Wi-Fi disconnects, their whole day collapses. Planning doesn't remove problems. It just makes you stronger than surprises. When I was younger, I didn't plan either. I thought planning was boring. I wanted to live free. But freedom without direction is just being lost politely. I started writing down 3 small goals every night. One of them was always personal. Call a friend, read 10 pages, learn 1 word in another language. And suddenly, I realized I was growing, quietly, daily. And let me tell you something funny. Your brain loves to finish things it starts. When you write down tomorrow's tasks, your brain already starts working on them while you sleep. That's why, sometimes, you wake up with a solution out of nowhere. It wasn't magic, it was your mind finishing what you started. So, tonight, before you sleep, don't scroll, plan. Even if it's just wake up at 7, drink water, send that email. Simple. Because a planned day feels lighter, faster, and calmer. You'll start winning mornings, and when you win your mornings, you win your life. People who plan their days control time. People who don't get controlled by it. So make a choice before you close your eyes tonight. Write your plan, sleep with purpose, and tomorrow will thank you. Now let's talk about habit number 3. Spend 10 minutes in silence every morning. You see, most people wake up and the first thing they do is check their phone. Boom, notifications, news, messages, chaos. It's like opening your eyes and walking straight into a storm. Then they say, why am I so anxious? My friend, because you started your day in other people's worlds before you even entered your own. Silence is not just peace. Silence is power. When you wake up and give yourself 10 minutes of quiet, you're not wasting time. You're sharpening your mind. You're building clarity before the world starts shouting at you. I remember one guy told me, sir, I don't have time for silence. I'm busy. I said, you don't have 10 minutes, but you'll waste 30 minutes arguing with someone online? We're not busy. We're just addicted to noise. Silence is not the absence of sound. It's the presence of control. Let me tell you something funny. When I started doing this, I couldn't even last 2 minutes. I'd sit there thinking, what am I supposed to do? My brain was like a loud market. Thoughts screaming, check your phone. You forgot to reply. What if your friend posted something? That's how much noise lives inside us. We can't sit with ourselves anymore. But the more you practice silence, the more you hear the most important voice, your own. The world teaches us how to speak, not how to listen. But success starts with listening to your thoughts, to your gut, to your ideas. All great decisions were made in silence, never in chaos. Do you know how the ocean looks calm from the surface? But deep down, it's still and powerful. That's how your mind should be. Calm on the surface, strong underneath. Silence builds that depth. Here's what you can do. When you wake up before touching your phone, sit quietly for 10 minutes. No music, no messages, no thoughts of yesterday or tomorrow. Just breathe. Listen to the sound of the morning. Feel your own heartbeat. You'll notice your mind slowly stops rushing. And then ideas start coming. Solutions appear. You realize half your problems were just noise. I once met a billionaire who said something that changed me. He said, my best business ideas came not when I was thinking, but when I was quiet. Think about that. We're chasing success outside, while the answers are hiding inside. And let me tell you, people will laugh. They'll say, 10 minutes of silence? What will that do? But that's exactly why they're tired all the time. They never pause. Even machines overheat when they run non-stop. You can't be productive if your mind is always noisy. So tomorrow morning, don't rush to check who texted you. Sit, breathe, smile. 10 minutes of silence might look like nothing, but it's the habit that separates people who react from people who lead. When you control your morning silence, you control your whole day's energy. And remember, peace is not found in a quiet place. It's created inside a quiet mind. Now let's talk about habit number 4. Learn something new every single day. You know, people think learning ends after school. The moment they get a job, they close the book and open Netflix. And then they wonder why their life feels stuck. My friend, learning doesn't stop when you get a degree. It stops when your curiosity dies. The world moves so fast that if you're not learning, you're not standing still, you're actually moving backward. One day, a young man told me, sir, I don't like reading. It's boring. I asked him, do you like staying broke? He laughed. I said, because one leads to the other. You don't have to read for hours. You just have to feed your brain something new every day. It can be a book, a podcast, a YouTube video, a conversation with someone smarter than you. But do something that teaches you, not just entertains you. I'll tell you a funny truth. We live in the smartest generation with the dumbest habits. We carry supercomputers in our pockets, yet we use them mostly to watch cat videos and argue in comment sections. One click can open a million lessons, but most people open gossip instead. If your phone can waste your time, it can also change your life. It depends on what you press. Learning doesn't have to be complicated. Pick one topic a day. Learn one new word. Understand one new idea. 10 minutes a day is enough to become dangerous. Not dangerous to others, but dangerous to your own excuses. When I started learning every day, I noticed something strange. The world didn't change, but the way I saw it did. The same problems looked smaller because my mind got bigger. You don't grow by removing problems. You grow by upgrading your understanding. Let me give you an example. You can give two people the same book. One will say, it's boring. The other will say, it changed my life. The difference isn't the book. It's how hungry they are to learn. Hunger decides growth. Some people say, I don't have time, but they know every celebrity's birthday. My friend, it's not time you lack. It's priority. Everyone has 24 hours. The question is, how much of it do you give to your future? And how much do you waste feeding your distractions? And let me be honest, learning is not always fun. Sometimes you'll read something and feel confused. That's good. Confusion is the door to clarity. Every expert was once a beginner sitting in confusion. But the difference is they didn't quit. I once asked a billionaire, how do you stay ahead? He said, I learn faster than I forget. Think about that. The world forgets yesterday's knowledge every day. So if you stop learning, your old skills expire. That's why your phone updates automatically. But most people don't update their mindset. So make it a rule. Before you sleep, ask yourself, what did I learn today? If your answer is nothing, then it wasn't a complete day. Even learning one small idea daily means 365 new ideas in a year, and one of those ideas could change your entire life. The world pays you not for what you know, but for what you keep learning. So learn every day, because when you stop learning, you stop earning. Now let's talk about habit number 5. Move your body every single day. You see, people want to change their lives, but they don't want to move. They say, I'm tired. My friend, you're not tired. You're just full of stagnant energy. You can't expect your mind to be sharp if your body feels like a parked car. Even the best car in the world rusts if you never drive it. Every successful person I've ever met moves daily. It doesn't matter how rich, how busy, or how old they are, they understand something simple. Motion creates emotion. When your body moves, your mind follows. But most people wait to feel motivated before they move. That's like waiting for your phone to charge itself. It doesn't work that way. Let me tell you something funny. Once a friend told me, I don't like exercise. I said, then do something you like. Dance, walk, play with your kids, clean your room, chase your dreams, just move. He laughed. But later he started taking walks every morning. After 2 weeks, he said, I feel alive again. I told him, that's because your body finally remembered it has a heart. We underestimate how deeply the body affects the mind. You skip movement for 3 days and suddenly you feel lazy, negative, unmotivated. You start doubting everything. Then one day, you go for a short walk and boom, clarity, ideas, hope. Your body is not a decoration, it's a tool. And like any tool, if you don't use it, it gets dull. You don't need a gym, you don't need fancy shoes. Just 10 to 20 minutes of movement daily. Stretch, jog, do push-ups, dance like nobody's watching. Because trust me, nobody cares. Everyone's too busy looking at their own phone. There's a saying, a man who can't control his body can't control his life. It's true. If you can't convince your own body to wake up and move, how will you convince the world to listen to you? Movement is discipline in motion. When you move your body, you're sending a signal to your mind. We're not stuck, we're alive. I remember once being so stressed that I couldn't think straight. So I left my office and just started walking. No music, no phone, just me and my thoughts. 30 minutes later, the problem that felt impossible suddenly had a solution. The walk didn't solve the problem, it solved the chaos inside me. Movement resets your brain. People say, I don't have time to exercise. Really? But they scroll 2 hours every night doing thumb workouts. The problem isn't time, it's intention. The same 24 hours that built your excuses can also build your health. And listen, movement doesn't only make you fit, it makes you proud. You look in the mirror and think, I kept my promise. That feeling of self-respect is worth more than any abs or muscles. So, from today, promise yourself, no matter how busy, no matter how lazy you feel, move, even if it's just walking around your house for 5 minutes. Because if your body doesn't move, your dreams won't either. The happiest people are not those who have everything. They're the ones who have energy. And energy is not found, it's created. One movement at a time. So move your body every day, because your body is the engine of your destiny. Now let's talk about habit number 6. Talk less, listen more. You know, most people don't listen to understand. They listen to reply. Before you even finish your sentence, they're already loading their answer like a gun. That's why conversations today feel like battles, not learning. The smartest person in the room is rarely the one talking the most. It's usually the one sitting quietly, observing everything. Because when you talk, you repeat what you already know. When you listen, you learn something new. But our problem is, we all want to look smart, not become smart. I remember once sitting in a meeting with a young entrepreneur who wouldn't stop talking. He interrupted everyone, gave opinions on every topic, acted like Google with legs. When the meeting ended, the investor smiled and said, you're talented, but too loud. The guy asked, what do you mean? The investor said, if you're always talking, how will you hear the opportunity knocking? That one line shut him up more effectively than any lecture. Listening is an art. It's also a sign of strength. Weak people need to prove themselves in every sentence. Strong people let silence do the talking. You see, silence makes people curious. When you talk less, others listen more carefully. When you finally speak, your words gain value because they're rare. But if you talk all the time, your voice becomes background noise. Here's the funny part. Everyone wants to be heard, but nobody wants to listen. Imagine a room where everyone's shouting at once. That's the internet today. But in that chaos, the one who listens, truly listens, becomes the most powerful person in the room. Listening also teaches humility. Sometimes you think you're right until you actually listen. That's when you realize maybe the other person has a piece of the puzzle you missed. Successful people don't need to win every argument. They just need to win in the long run. I used to talk too much too. I thought being loud meant being confident. But then I noticed when I spoke less, people started paying more attention. When I listened deeply, I started understanding people, not just their words. That's when my life changed. Because success is not about who speaks louder, it's about who understands deeper. Try this. Next time you're in a conversation, instead of thinking what to say next, think what are they really trying to tell me? Listen with curiosity, not judgment. You'll be surprised how many doors open just because you made someone feel heard. Let me give you a secret. People love good listeners because good listeners make others feel important. And when people feel important around you, they trust you, help you, and support you. That's how leaders are built, not by shouting orders, but by listening with respect. And one more thing, listening doesn't just mean hearing others. It also means listening to yourself, your gut, your thoughts, your inner voice. Sometimes silence will tell you more than any advice. The world shouts 24/7, social media, news, noise everywhere. But if you can find that quiet space inside you, you'll always know your next step. So talk less, listen more. Because in silence, you'll hear everything you need. Wisdom, opportunity, and truth. Remember this. Your ears will make you richer than your mouth ever will. Now let's talk about habit number 7. Save before you spend. This is one of those habits everyone knows but very few follow. You see, most people don't have a spending problem. They have a thinking after spending problem. They earn, they spend, and then they say, next month I'll save. But next month looks exactly like this month, broke, stressed, and blaming the economy. Let me tell you the truth. It's not about how much you earn, it's about how much you keep. Even a small income, managed wisely, beats a big income managed foolishly. The problem is, people want to look rich before they become rich. They'll buy new phones, new clothes, fancy coffees, and then say, I'm investing in myself. My friend, Starbucks is not an investment. I once asked a young guy, do you save? He said, no sir, I can't. My salary is too small. I smiled and said, if you can't save when it's small, you'll never save when it's big. Because saving is not about amount. It's about attitude. If you can't manage $100, you'll waste $10,000 the same way. When you save before you spend, you're sending a message to your future, I respect you. But when you spend everything you earn, you're saying to your future self, good luck buddy. And don't get me wrong, saving doesn't mean living miserably, it means living intelligently. Spend on what grows you. Books, tools, health. Not on what only impresses others. Because nobody claps for your credit card bill. Let me give you a funny example. When I was younger, I used to buy shoes I didn't need to impress people who didn't care. Then one day, I realized the people I was trying to impress were broke too. That's when I understood. Poor people try to look rich. Rich people try to stay rich. You don't need to be a financial expert. Just follow one simple rule. Whenever you earn, take 10 to 20% and hide it from yourself. Pretend you never had it. Make it automatic. Save before you even see the money. Because once money enters your hand, temptation wakes up. You'll be surprised. A year from now, you'll look back and see how those small savings quietly built you a safety net. And that safety net gives you something money can't buy. Peace. When everyone else panics, you'll sleep calmly. Because you built your foundation brick by brick. And please, stop thinking saving makes you boring. No, it makes you powerful. Because when you save, you buy freedom. Freedom to say no to toxic jobs, bad deals, and unnecessary pressure. The world respects people who don't depend on anyone financially. So next time you get your paycheck, don't ask, what can I buy? Ask, what can I keep? Remember, you can't build wealth with what you spend, you build it with what you save. Because one day, your savings will start earning for you, and that's when you stop working for money, and money starts working for you. So save first, spend later. Because rich is not a number, it's a mindset. Now let's talk about habit number 8. Choose your circle wisely. You see, your environment is stronger than your willpower. You can be the most motivated person in the world, but if you spend your time with lazy, negative, or complaining people, they'll slowly drain your energy like mosquitoes that smile while sucking your blood. Show me your 5 closest friends, and I'll show you your future. Because you become what you're surrounded by. You hang out with people who talk about growth, you grow. You hang out with people who gossip, you shrink. Simple. I remember one young man came to me and said, sir, I work hard, but I don't see progress. I asked him, who are your friends? He said, we usually just hang out, play games, and complain about life. I said, there's your answer. You're running with people who are jogging backward. You can't fly if your circle loves crawling. If your friends laugh at your dreams, you're not in a circle. You're in a cage. And listen, this doesn't mean you must cut everyone off. It means you must protect your energy like it's your savings account. Be kind to everyone, but give your time only to those who make you better. Let me tell you a funny truth. Broke people always have advice, and negative people always have opinions. They'll tell you what's impossible. And if you listen long enough, you'll start believing them. That's why choosing the right circle is not arrogance. It's survival. When I started working, I used to spend time with people who complained about everything. The boss, the system, the weather, even the coffee. After a few months, I realized I had become one of them. Always complaining, never creating. Then I made a decision. I'll only be around people who talk ideas, not excuses. Within a year, my mindset completely changed. Because energy is contagious, you catch what you surround yourself with. If you hang out with people who dream big, you'll start dreaming too. If your friends are learning every day, saving, growing, believing, you'll absorb that mindset naturally. Success is not an individual game. It's a team sport. You can't win the game of life with a losing team. And don't confuse loyalty with limitation. Some people are meant to stay in your heart, not in your life. If someone keeps pulling you down, love them, but love them from a distance. Here's something I learned. You don't need a big circle. You just need a real one. 3 good friends who push you, challenge you, and remind you of who you are when you forget. They're worth more than 100 party friends. Look around your circle. Who talks about the future? Who encourages your ideas? Who claps when you win? Not clap with jealousy, but truly clap. Those are your people. Protect them, because when you walk with winners, losing becomes uncomfortable. So choose your circle wisely, because your circle is your mirror. It shows you who you're becoming. You can't build a big life with small-minded people. Now let's talk about habit number 9. Focus on one thing at a time. You know what the biggest lie of this generation is? I'm multitasking. My friend, nobody is multitasking. They're just doing many things badly at once. You're not being productive, you're being busy. And busy doesn't mean progress. A hamster runs all day in its wheel and still stays in the same cage. People today can't focus for more than 10 seconds. You open your laptop to work, 2 minutes later, you're checking your phone. Then you check one message. That leads to one meme. That leads to one reel. And now it's midnight, and you've achieved a PhD in nothing. Let me tell you something funny. Focus is the new superpower. Everyone has information, few have attention. The world rewards people who can stay locked on one thing long enough to finish it. Success is not about speed, it's about direction. You can drive fast, but if you keep changing lanes every minute, you'll never reach anywhere. I once met a young guy who said, "Sir, I want to start a business, a YouTube channel, a podcast, and also learn trading." I asked him, "Do you want success or do you want exhaustion? Because if you chase 10 rabbits at once, you'll catch none. But if you chase one with full focus, you'll eat dinner tonight." Even in business, I've seen people lose everything because they kept jumping from idea to idea. They never stayed long enough to let something grow. It's like planting a seed and digging it up every week to check if it's growing. Patience and focus. That's what success is made of. And here's the truth. Distractions are not accidents. They're designed. Everything around you is built to steal your attention. Apps, ads, noise, notifications. But remember this. Every notification you open is a dream you close for a few seconds. Those seconds add up. When you focus on one thing, magic happens. Your brain starts finding solutions faster. Your energy feels clearer. Your results multiply. But when you split your focus, even the simplest things start feeling hard. You don't need to do everything. You need to do the right thing with your full heart. Here's what I do. Every morning, I write down the one thing that matters most that day. Just one. Not 10. Not 20. Because if you finish one meaningful thing daily, after a year, you've completed 365 things that actually matter. That's how progress is built. One focused day at a time. And let me tell you something real. People who say I'm bored are not bored. They're unfocused. When you truly focus, you don't have time to feel bored. Your mind feels alive because it's busy creating, not scrolling. So stop trying to do everything. Focus on one goal, one project, one dream, and do it so well that even your distractions get jealous. Because remember, sunlight doesn't burn anything until it's focused. Neither will you. Now let's talk about habit number 10. Be grateful every single day. You know what's funny? Most people don't realize how rich they already are. They wake up, they can see, they can walk, they can breathe, they have food on their plate, and still they say, "I'm not lucky." My friend, if you have health, family, and peace, you're already richer than millions. We live in a world where people have more comfort, but less happiness, more followers, but less connection, more things, but less gratitude. We scroll all day comparing our lives with someone's highlight reel and then wonder why we feel empty. Let me tell you something. Comparison kills joy, and gratitude brings it back to life. Every morning when you wake up, you have two choices: complain or be grateful. You can say, "Why is my life like this?" Or you can say, "Thank you, that I even have another chance to make it better." Gratitude doesn't mean everything is perfect. It means you choose to see what's good, even when life is not. I remember someone once told me, "Sir, I'll be happy when I get my dream job." A few years later, he got that job. And guess what? He was stressed again. Because now he wanted promotion, more money, more status. That's human nature. When you don't practice gratitude, happiness keeps moving just one step ahead of you. You chase it forever, but never catch it. Let me tell you this. Gratitude is not just saying thank you. It's feeling it. It's when you look at your parents and realize how much they sacrificed. It's when you look at your team and say, "Without them, I'm nothing." It's when you lose something and suddenly realize how precious it was. Don't wait for loss to learn appreciation. And if you ever feel like your life is hard, go visit a hospital once. See how some people are fighting just to live one more day. Then you'll realize how blessed you are to complain about Wi-Fi or your phone's battery. Gratitude changes everything because it changes you. When you're grateful, your energy shifts. You attract better things, better people, better ideas. You stop focusing on what you lack and start building from what you have. That's where success really begins. Not from greed, but from gratitude. You know what the most successful people I've met have in common? They're grateful, even in failure. Because they understand every failure is just feedback. Every setback is just a setup for the next success. Gratitude turns pain into wisdom. So tonight, before you sleep, don't count your problems. Count your blessings. Don't complain that life is unfair. Remember how far you've come already. Maybe you're not where you want to be, but you're also not where you used to be. And if you ever feel small, remember this. The happiest people are not those who have everything, but those who appreciate everything they have. Gratitude doesn't make life perfect. It makes it peaceful. So start today. Thank the people who helped you. Thank the failures that shaped you. Thank the challenges that made you stronger. And most importantly, thank yourself for not giving up when it was hard. Because when you live with gratitude, every day becomes a gift. And my friend, that's how life truly changes. Not when you get more, but when you start appreciating what you already have. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends.